Congratulations. How are you feeling?
I feel good. Yeah. When I was talking to you guys the other day, I was saying I want to go out and have the perfect fight. I don't know. That was pretty close. It's one of those things that you prepare yourself for this war. You prepare yourself for a battle. Go through all these scenarios of I'm in danger and I'm getting through it. That's at least what I do. Go rehearse those things in my mind of I can get through anything. I can push through anything. I can break my arm and continue to fight. That's the stuff that goes through my head during fight week. And then to go out and have a 20-something second fight, it's like, oh, okay. I'm glad he's all right though. Jesse's, like I said, he's got stones to step in on 2 days' notice. That's a ballsy move.
Yeah, I mean, when you were talking to us about Jared Gordon, and then I think the next day or maybe even that night, he was out. So when you heard that he was out, did they already say we have this replacement, or were you sitting there thinking I may not get to fight?
No, Sean called me, and that's never a good call to get. I was down with my coach, and I was getting my meals and stuff like that, and I pulled my phone out of my pocket. I'm like, fuck, and it's like, hi, hi, Sean, how you doing? And tells me that Jared's out, and he's like, what do you want to do? And I didn't come all the way across the country to just fly back, so. I told him that, if I needed to fight somebody to catch weight, I'll fight somebody to catch weight. I'm fine with that. We need a dance partner, right? In order to fight, in order to advance your career, in order to get paid, you need somebody across from you. So, and if somebody was stepping in, on 2 days' notice, they weren't training to fight me for the last couple of weeks. I was training to fight other guys. So. Yeah, we played it out, and he asked around, and it was actually a very, very quick turnaround that, we had a new opponent.
And is that fight with Jared something you still would like to do at some point, or is it sort of just like, I don't know?
It is what it is, I understand his willingness to fight in that situation, what he was going through. I get that, right, that self-sacrifice as a fighter. I'm a little disappointed in his team, honestly. If they knew that stuff was going on, they shouldn't have allowed him to take the fight. My guys would not have allowed me to take that fight, and they know I would have fought about it, but they wouldn't have let me do it. To be trying to cut, like 40 pounds, and dealing, you've been dealing with a concussion, like. His coaches should have stepped up and told him no.
What's the game plan now when you want to get back in there? And you obviously took no damage.
Yeah, let's get another one by the end of the year. I hate only having 2 fights a year, so I want to get that third. I've said it that I want to end my career the way that I finished it, which is fighting as often as I can. Doing the math, talking to people, it's like 300 might be in like April or something like that, which kind of stinks. It moves that timeline up for me. But maybe it won't be my last one, but I don't know. Because I like I said, I kind of wanted I wanted it to be 45, and if it's in April, that's next to impossible. So, yeah, we'll see. I'd like to fight. I'll be ready to fight soon, and I just need another dance partner.
Yeah, if you keep putting people away in 23 seconds, it seems silly to retire. Easy money, right?
Well, it's not easy. It's not easy. There is so much that goes into it. It's like my feet are going to be the end of that's what's going to cause me to have to stop fighting is my feet and my toes. And it's not even like when training partners foot stomping me or anything silly like that. It's literally like I stub my toe or I roll it or something like that, and it's like then that just goes up the chain, knees, hips, back, and throws everything off. So there's plenty of stuff that is nagging me. It's hard. It's hard to come off of that performance and be like, I mean, my next fight, unless I get something on a really, quicker notice, like I'll be 40 years old as a lightweight, which is fucking old. So I want to still be able to have the energy and the ability to do the things that I want to do when I'm done fighting. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know what's going to happen, but I want a few more fights, and then I think I should do like a traveling cooking show with the UFC. Anybody hear that?
I like that idea. What would be the first thing you'd cook?
I don't know. I was thinking actually like go like to like where events are and stuff like that. Hopefully when we start branching back out from the couple of places in the States we've been doing, go out, hang out with people, have a bite to eat while we're watching the fights. Book it, Dana. Let's do it.
I like it. It sounds like maybe you have a few more, maybe more than a few more
Yeah.
left. Do you have names of people you'd like to fill in those slots?
I mean, no, really, it's nobody in particular. Honestly, I have so much respect for everybody that does this stuff because I know what it's like. I've been doing this for a bit, and it's not easy, and you have to deal with a bunch of BS sometimes, and like I've got a great group of coaches and training partners, Farrow's Muay Thai and Sussex County MMA, Brian's guys at Precision MMA, or Boxing and MMA. It's they're great. They're absolutely great. But the thing is I've had to weed people out. I've had to get people out of my, away from me and. Kind of just like cut them out of your life, So there's always drama, there's always BS, and it's not easy. It's not easy to do this stuff. So like I said, I appreciate all the other fighters that I would get to fight, whether they're 45ers, 55ers, 70s. I don't care. They're here. They're busting their butts. They're making sacrifices. If they want to help, put on a show, I'm game. I'm down.
Thank you.
It's funny for some of us that have been watching you on this journey for so long. I know when we heard the idea of UFC 300,
mm-hmm.
We're all bought into it. Everybody wants to see that, And I know when we saw this fight happen, I think everybody was like, first you need to get the win.
Yeah.
But you need to get out there without any injuries. And today was a perfect scenario. So I guess if you know that there's a possibility that the event could be in April, maybe in May, do you really want to try to get one and know that there's a possibility of there could be injuries? Or do you try to get it maybe early, soon now, so that you have the rest of the year to sort of recover and then rest for the next year?
I absolutely want to get in, and do like November or something like that. Like 300 is like kind of it's kind of the finish line, I think, maybe. I don't know. I'll talk to my wife. But like I said, I want to finish the way that I started and being conservative about it and saying like, hey, and grabbing a hold of Sean's ear and being like, I don't want to fight until, 300 because it won't be that long. I was hoping that it was going to be July. If it was July, I had it all mapped out. November, March, July, that's 45, boom, we're good to go. And now it's like, no, the math is wrong. And it's going to be like, May or something like that. And I mean, I'll be ready to fight then, but I don't know if I'll be ready to hang them up. But yeah, like I'm not I'm not the conservative guy. I'm not the guy that's gonna play it like that. You know, training camps are hard, but life is hard too at this point. You know, I think I might have outdone Daniel Cormier. You know, he hurt himself sneezing. You know, I'm like 7 weeks out from my last fight, and I bend over to pick up a piece of a wrapper, a corner of a wrapper on the floor in the kitchen, and bang, I tear part of my patellar tendon. And like audible, you know, had to like walk it off, like swearing. And my wife's like, what the heck happened to you, you know? And bending over to pick up a piece of garbage on the floor, right? So it's like, it doesn't have to be a camp. It doesn't have to be a fight. Like I could hurt myself doing anything, you know, like I could hurt myself in the garden, for crying out loud, bending over, you know? So, I'm not gonna put myself into a bubble and try to protect myself, you know, because there are things that are a little beat up, you know, on this whole body. So yeah, we're gonna fight it. We're gonna fight like we do, and we're gonna keep going, and yeah, we'll see where everything goes.
Well, you know, and when it's funny is when you were dealing with the Lyme disease and you were dealing with all this stuff that you even said yourself, you know, you weren't even fighting near what your potential, because you felt like you had like a governor on your system and you could never fully go. Is it crazy to think about looking back and sort of on that time to seeing where you're at now? And are you able to kind of look back on that time and just sort of appreciate the growth and what you've been able to do since that time of your career?
Absolutely. You know, that appreciation, right? That's the big thing. Is like, because I was preparing to retire at 200. Like I was fighting at 196 so that, 196 so that I could get to 200. And I mean, that training camp for 196 was awful, absolutely awful. I barely could do anything. Like, really, the only thing I was able to do was like run on a treadmill. And since I found out that opponent that I was battling that whole time, that it wasn't just having beat up my body for 10 years as a professional fighter. That's what I thought it was. You know, I took it personal, and I got after it, and I did everything that I could do to get a little bit better every day, and it took me a while to get over it. You know, it felt like early 2018 is when I finally felt like I got over it. But then I was still on antibiotics for another like year, which completely destroy your conditioning. So yeah, I feel like there's like a couple different like acts, you know, to this movie, right? A couple different parts to it where it's like, yeah, before Lyme, during Lyme, and then maybe even splitting up after Lyme to like that part where you're still kind of fucked up. And then it's like discovering how to train like an old guy that got over Lyme disease, you know, which has been the last like, you know, I don't know, 2.5 years. So yeah, it's been a heck of a road. I wouldn't trade it for nothing. It's been my road, and I'm super appreciative of every opportunity that I get to step into the octagon, and because I know how fleeting it is, and I know how close I was, and how close it is for anybody. You know, you never know. You literally never know when your last fight's going to be. So.
And I think that's what's inspiring to a lot of people on the outside watching it, and even other fighters. I don't know if you got a chance. I don't know a lot of the names, but if you go back and look at some of the Twitter comments that even went up on the broadcast, people were just talking about your left hand and how it looked better than ever, you know. So to go through all that, and now kind of like a fine wine, you're looking better than ever. So I could see why when you're looking at like the 300, like why stop now, you know, like all the cylinders are firing, especially going out and putting like a performance like you did today.
Yeah.
So when you look at some of the numbers, you extended the most win streaks. Now it's like 25. Second most finishes, 17 in the division. How important are those numbers, and are those numbers that you focus on, or is it just byproducts of this journey that you're on?
They're cool, but I don't focus on them. You know, like I love the MMA community, the fans. Like I really do. It's amazing. But to have a conversation with Andrei Arlovski the other day, like a guy that I grew up watching, and he's like this guy's a fan of mine. He's like complimenting me on what I've done in the sport, and it's like, bro, you were a UFC champion like before I started fighting, like, and you're only a couple years older than me. That means that like he's in here like beating everybody in the heavyweight division at 20-something years old. Like, it's insane to me, and it was kind of one of those like a little bit eye-opening, like, holy shit, maybe we did do something pretty cool here. It's getting the respect that I've gotten from my peers is that is the coolest shit. It's neat. It's neat to be associated with some of those guys. I mean, you look at like who's got 20 wins in the UFC, and it's like it's a bunch of studs, and to be the guy that has the lead is like, well, that's kind of cool. Like I might not have ever got my opportunity at a title, but it all comes down to timing sometimes too, right? It's like shit. I mean, in my first, Daniel Cormier, the champ, had 15 fights in the UFC. My first 15 fights in the UFC, we had the same record. Like, and now I'm pushing to do that 3 times over, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Still Hall of Fame worthy.
Thank you.
Well, congrats on the victory. It was a wonderful performance, and we're going to be asking Dana about the UFC 300 tonight. We're going to keep pushing him on.
All right.
So congrats on the victory.
Thank you very much.